So we're on air. We're on air. This is fun. This is fun. So my name's Craig. I'm the food and beverage director for Malmaison Hotel de Van. Here with me, I have John, chef director for Malmaison, and I have Loris, who's here on behalf of Campari. And we are going to be talking to you today about the Negroni collaboration that we have across Malmaison Hotel de Van throughout September, and particularly the experience we have in Malmaison, where we've got this 3 courses with 3 paired Negronis throughout the period. So Negroni month for us goes through the full month of September, and in Malmaison we've got a 3-course tasting experience that we're really excited about. It's a core strategy for us this year, is to create memorable experiences for people and to collaborate with great partners like Campari and, promote things like Negroni that we know kind of our guests love. Negronis, our sales mix definitely tells us that. So just to tell you a bit about the product that we have available, and then we'll have a chat with Loris about Campari. So we have a 3-course tasting experience. I'll talk through the drink and then John can touch on the food. The very first drink that we're going to serve as part of the experience is a Negroni Spagliato. Loris can probably talk through this a bit more fluently than me, which basically means wrong Negroni. It was instead of serving gin, they served Prosecco. It's much lighter, very spritzy. I think it's the perfect kind of first cocktail in the dining experience. It's been a cocktail that we've had on before many times, and a cocktail that our guests definitely love. And that first drink is going to be paired with.
So that's going to be paired with frito misto. It's a new dish or a change of a dish on the Mal menu. So it's with calamari, cod cheeks, and tiger prawns. So it should pair really well with the prosecco in the Negroni.
Yeah, which is kind of like an old dish for us. I mean, back in the day, I'm going back in the day when I first started, 14 years ago. Frito misto was always a great dish for us, and we moved into then the calamari, and then I suppose going back to what we initially did with this kind of seafood tempura, which I think would be a great dish. The second course, and again touching on throughout the experiences, the main course is quite a bit of steak through there because we're really passionate about steak. I'm passionate about the Yospa grill and passionate about using the Conro and the smokiness through the dish that John will talk about. We've paired with a Mezcal Negroni, so your typical Negroni serve, but using Mezcal instead of gin. Again, it brings that kind of smokiness through and pairs really well with our second course.
Yeah, so the second course is Chateaubriand, crowd pleaser. So hopefully that this will sell really well. It's 500 gram Chateau from Donna Brussels. That's served with our Café de Paris butter, new butter for us, which is going on the menu, fries, and then we finish, like Craig says, we finished the Chateau over the coals on a Conro grill, which should pick up some of the smokiness from the mezcal, hopefully.
Yeah, I think it'd be a fantastic pairing. And then for the last course, we, from a Negroni perspective, we've got a truffle Negroni, which is on the new cocktail menu. To make that, we are infusing truffle with gin, and then we're making a Negroni afterwards. It's on the current cocktail list. I think when you taste the drink, it's much softer in terms of on the palate. You definitely pick up that truffle through there, and it pairs fantastically well with the third course on the tasting menu.
Yeah, and the third course is our new cheese plate for Malmaison, which I'm quite excited about. It's 3 cheeses, so we have English, Scottish, and France. So it's good to have a Scottish cheese on the menu for a change. We've got a Valenci, which is a little nod to Malmaison and Napoleon, where when Napoleon supposedly stopped off at Valenci after not doing so well in Egypt, the cheese was originally a pyramid, and he reminded him of the lust of the Egyptians, so he whacked the top of the cheese off with his sword, and it took the top of the cheese off. So quite a good little story. Don't know if it's true or not, but it's a good story anyway. And then we've got a Blue Murder, which is a Scottish cheese, nice and creamy, not too strong, and we've got a Pitchfork, like an English cheddar. And then on the Blue Murder Scottish cheese, we're just adding a little bit of truffle honey, and that should go really well with a truffle Negroni as well.
Yeah, I think, and just on the cheese John talked about, there's narrative in the menu on that as well. So we're trying to keep that story of the, Chateau Malmaison, Napoleon and Josephine, and I think that's going right back to the roots of Malmaison, and a narrative that we're going to continue to polish as we continue to move through. So that's the tasting experience. The tasting experience are all priced at £69, so you get your 3 cocktails and your 3 courses for £69 per person. All the dishes are on Plus, so we should be able to take walk-ins, take reservations at the desk, upsell in the restaurant, and obviously then take reservations as well. So we're really excited about it. It's the first tasting experience in the series of tasting experiences that we have, and a great opportunity to partner with Campari and Negroni on this. So for those who've been around for a while, we started the very first kind of collaboration we had was with Campari and was Negroni Month. We had the first one in 2019. It was a huge success for us, and it was off the back of that we ended up doing things like Old Fashioned Week, Month, and etc. And I think this is the kind of evolution of those experiences that we're really excited about. So that's enough about Malmaison. Loris, it's great to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me. It's fantastic to be here.
The pleasure is all ours. And, in Brewdog, and I know you're saying on the way in, it's your first time you've been here. For people who haven't been here, so the podcast studios in Brewdog Waterloo, I mean, they have, bowling here. You can, if you're on the second floor and you don't want to go down the stairs, you can take a slide. There's lots of cool things here. So, yeah, it's great to have you here. Tell us a bit about you and a bit about Campari, Negroni, and, your story.
Well, how long have you got? I could stay here for days. But no, I mean, my name is Loris. I'm the UK brand ambassador for Italian Icons, which is a big title that means absolutely nothing. So what I do essentially is I look after all the educational side of all Italian brands of Campari Group portfolio. But today it's just, it's about Campari. It's about the best ever brand that I've had the pleasure to represent.
I may ask you, where's home? Where's home?
Home is in a little village in the Venice region called Sandrigo. It's a village of 7,000 people. Where everybody knows each other, and it's one of those places where you want to get away as quick as you can when you are in your late teens, because of that. But now every time I go home is a place that is a place I belong to. So it's a wonderful little place on the foot of the Alps. That an hour drive away from Venice. That has given me the opportunity to grow. With this occasion that I wasn't aware of, but it was pretty much all around me, which is aperitivo, which is aperitivo moment.
So tell us a bit about you. I mean, what do you consider an aperitivo moment? Tell us about these aperitivo moments and Campari and Negroni.
Well, I've had many years. I've been working for Campari for 14 years, and I had the pleasure to introduce the spritz in 2011 with a very small team. And aperitivo for me, I've always been asked that question, and I always had the challenge to distill it down to one word. So, what is aperitivo? And to me, aperitivo is a celebration. It demarcates the end of the chores and the beginning of the pleasure. It's when you have an aperitivo in your hand, it means work is over, let's celebrate. And we are the master at celebration. Particularly in the Venice region, we love it so much that we have it 3 times a day, starting from lunch all the way to after work and then before dinner.
So I think that's a really good point, actually, around aperitivo, and definitely something the teams can take away in terms of what aperitivo means. It's that break, it's that work chores are finished. Now it's time to enjoy, and what better way to enjoy aperitivo or spagliato than enjoying a fantastic Negroni experience, tasting experience in Malmaison. And in terms of Negroni, obviously, it's a big, working with Campari, Negroni is obviously a big cocktail for you. It's one of our top selling cocktails. I assume it's, in many of the people you work with, it's the same for them. Tell the guys a bit about Negroni.
Well, the Negroni, I mean, what an incredible story. According to the documentation that we have, Negroni was created by a customer, a regular of this bar in Via dei Tornabuoni in Firenze, so Florence, in 1919. So essentially, Count Camillo Negroni, this wealthy man born in Florence in 1868 that had been traveling all across North America, opened a fencing school in New York and found himself in attending these incredible hotel bars during the first golden age of cocktail. Where the Jerry Thomas, the Harry Craddock of this world were fine-tuning their craft and bringing back cocktails to the place where they really belong to. He found himself living to that particular age and fell in love with the cocktail side of drinking, essentially. And then when he came back to Firenze, to Florence, and retired, found living in his family's villa. He always been a fan of this cocktail called Americano cocktail. So sweet vermouth, Campari in equal parts, lengthened by with soda water. Beautiful cocktails, incredible aperitivo cocktail. And then on his way to his favorite place in Florence, the San Regis Hotel, he would pass by this bar, and he became really friends with the head bartender there, and Fosco Scarselli, and found himself complaining that his Americano cocktail that had been enjoying and drinking for 20 years was not strong enough to make him happy. So asked the bartender, complained to the bartender and said, Fosco, what can we do to our Americano to make it more punchy, just more, just a little bit more to the point. And he said, well, obviously you like gin, you fell in love with gin in your travels to London and the States, and obviously juniper berries, which are the predominant flavor for gin, is a very common berry in botanical in the Florence and Tuscan region. So why don't we add an extra shot of gin to our Americano to make it to the point, to hit the spot. So that's the way. That's how the Americano, in the way of Count Camillo Negroni, was born.
Well, I did not know that story.
This beautiful story.
Is it?
I actually visited Florence with my wife and went to the House of Negroni. So fantastic place, Florence, and well worth a visit if you get a chance. Pink leather chairs. Amazing place.
Yeah.
Out of all the things, pink leather chairs.
But the colour of the Negroni, that is iconic. It's fantastic colour, isn't it? The Negroni?
Yes, it is. It is. That ruby red color with this brown hue, given by the caramel of the sweet vermouth was just very, very iconic.
And I think we're seeing now this kind of, as we're doing with Negroni Month, is we're seeing these kind of twists on Negroni, right? We're seeing,
Yes.
which is what kind of we've done, taking the story of Spagliato, and you can probably tell a story better than me, so I'll hand over to you in a second. Mm-hmm. And then things like mezcal and adding truffle, and I think, that kind of cocktail world is definitely starting to evolve now, isn't it? And people are using kind of more and more flavours. So, do you see much of kind of variations around the places you go to?
Yes, there have been lots of variation. And in fact, since the creation of the Negroni, every single bartender has been playing around with this very simple recipe that calls for equal parts of the three ingredients, and in playing around to create their own version of Negroni, which is fantastic. Because what we said is that bartenders have always been Campari brand ambassador, the true Campari brand ambassador. It's a brand that resonates with bartenders a lot and chefs as well, because of that bittersweet combination, that texture, that velvety texture in your mouth. And Negroni Sbagliato was a very good example of that. because out of all the classics and all the twists that have been made throughout the years, the modern classics seems to have stood the test of time. Are the one they use very, very small amount of ingredients, and the variations are very, very, very minimal, but they create a big impact. And especially the story of the sbagliato, that was it's a wonderful one, because it was created in the 1970s, and this bar called Barbasso in Milan, which is still open, and it's an old school Italian bar. If you go there, so in the 70s, Milan was starting to see this transformation. And Maurizio Stocchetto, who's the owner and son of Mirko Stocchetto, who created this cocktail, will tell you this story if you go there. I was very passionate about it, because in the 1970s, Milan was going through a very tumultuous year, and it was the time where fashion and fashion houses started to become popular. So also it was a time where women started to claim their independence. So up until that time, believe it or not, women were not seen very well if they went to a bar by themselves. They had to be accompanied by a gentleman. And but because women started to have affordable income and high position and have good important role, they started to claim their independence. One of the counterculture movements that happened in the 1970s were also female independence. So these females started to flood bars, and amongst these bars there was Barbasso. So the owner, Mirko Stocchetto, who was a guy that drank Negronis and smoked 2 packs of cigarettes. So his palate was always very, very dry. He started to have to deal with a female clientele, which had a very completely different palate. And they started to ask for something more gentle, more not fruity, but definitely gentle. So he created this twist of the Negroni by swapping Prosecco for gin. Obviously, Prosecco, Mirko Stocchetto, the owner of the bar, originally from Venice. Prosecco was pretty much only known in the Venice region up until the early 2000s. So believe it or not. And so he decided to bring Prosecco into the recipe, because Prosecco brings obviously acidity, sugar, because of the sugar residue, fruity and citrusy notes, and most importantly, bubbles, which brings any cocktail to life. And that was an incredible twist. And it's only one ingredient. It's just incredible how simplicity can result into a great classic.
Yeah, I love the Spagliato. I think it's definitely one of my favourite variations for sure. Well, listen, Lois, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate your time. For everyone, back in Malmaison Hotel de Van, we're really passionate about these experiences. We should be talking about them the way that they've been spoken about on the call here, really bring the experience to life. We're really excited to evolve Negroni Month from cocktails in the bar into the dining room. Huge thank you for coming in. Does anyone else have anything before we finish there?
If I can, I think
Please.
that the pairing with the fritto misto is a great pairing, because obviously Prosecco acts as a palate cleanser. So it just washes away the fattiness that it goes with fritto misto, and obviously it's a great pairing with fish. So it's an absolutely incredible, perfect way to get those 3 courses meal started.
But when we get launched, you have to come and enjoy Negroni.
That's what I was waiting for.
You'll have to come and enjoy Negroni Month. So John and I will get an invite to you for sure, and we'll enjoy that experience together for sure.
Well,
For sure.
But listen, huge thank you for coming in. Really appreciate it. Appreciate your time and your knowledge and your stories. We from everyone in the business, we really look forward to collaborating with Campari on Negroni Month.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.